Maruti Suzuki may not be the desh ki dhadkan, but is certainly becoming the way of life. As a matter of fact, every second car that you see plying on the streets of India today is a Maruti Suzuki. It has an extensive portfolio, and each product in its portfolio has done formidably well for itself. The Celerio is no exception. With its launch in 2014, the car has sold over 500,000 replicas. Now, it has become a little long in the tooth, and Maruti Suzuki knows that, and therefore it has now introduced the second generation of the all-new Celerio, and this is what it looks like. Welcome to a brand new episode of Car Sathi, your one-stop car buying comparative guide. Before we go any further, please subscribe to this channel and hit that bell notification icon to receive notifications when we make a brand new upload of an exciting all-new generation car like the brand new Celerio. We start the video by talking about the design of the vehicle. Now this is very different, it's very contemporary, it's very modern at the same time. It has got a little bit of here and there. It looks like a Alto, it looks like the Espresso. It doesn't look anywhere close to the first generation Celerio. But all I can tell you, it looks modern, it looks chic, it looks sharp even at certain angles, and will appeal to a lot of people in the mass market. The bonnet is very clamshell-like of a design. It doesn't have too many creases. As a matter of fact, it doesn't have any creases on the upper portion. The only haunches that you get towards the end of the front fenders. Of course, this is flanked by a chrome line that sits in between the halogen lamps, even on the top spec model, which brings us to the model lineup. It's got about 6 models: the LXi, the VXi, the ZXi, the ZXi Plus, and 2 automatic variants in the VXi and the ZXi. You can take your pick from there. The LXi does not come with the automatic. Now the automatic is an AMT version, but we'll come to that when we take a drive of the vehicle. You will also notice that this is a honeycomb grille that sits between and sits flush in between the chrome insert here. It's also flanked by a very C-class sort of a lower bumper. As we can see, it's very, it's surprising that Maruti has been able to pull out something like this, because it doesn't look like a Maruti Suzuki on the lower half. It looks chic. The air dam is divided in 2 halves. As you can see, the lower lip right here also showcases, a paint job that divides the air dam into 2 halves. Overall, the front design of the car looks really smart, really chic. But what do you think about it? Do let us know in the comments box down below. On the side, you can notice very clearly that there is a very sharp creased line over here, a haunch if you will. This cladding is not a part of the car, it's a part of the accessories, but I think it makes the car look a little more butch. I'm not sure if you'll want to make the car look a little butch, because it looks very pretty. It's a 15-inch alloy design, which is really smart, blacked out completely, makes it look really modern. It also comes with Yokohama tires, surprisingly. They are Blue Earth ones, and they have sufficient grip. I don't know how Maruti has been able to do that, but I've never seen Yokohama tires on cars before, and it looks really good here. The lower variants, the VXi and the LXi, will come with smaller wheel sizes. They are 14 inches. This one in particular is 15 inches. The turn indicators are integrated into the mirror, which is automatic folding as well as electronically adjustable, of course. The side, there is something that is very unusual about Maruti Suzuki. You have a keyhole right here, right next to the doorknob, which can be opened like so. It's a little old school. At the same time, you have a keyless entry system, a sensor right there. The entire setup here may not look the best, but that's what we have here today. You also have on the sides the protectors for the doors. This is also a part of the accessories, and the visors on top of the windows, that too is part of the accessories. The B pillar is blacked out by using some sort of a tape sort of a material. It looks very chic, looks very modern. On the sides, you also have chrome cladding right here, which is again a part of the accessories. There is no quarter glass on the C pillar. It has a black plastic cladding, which doesn't look out of place. It looks all right, it looks decent. Overall, the design on the side makes the car look very modern, very nice. It looks spacious. Ingress and egress are going to be supremely convenient for even older folk, but we'll come to that when we take a look at the car from the inside as well. Towards the C pillar, you will see a very soft sort of a curve that's very beautiful. The front of the car is flat, it gets a little wider towards the end, and towards the lower half of the vehicle is another haunch that matches the one in the front that we just saw. At the back, you will see a very nice shaped. It's sort of a water droplet sort of a shape to the tail lamp. It's all halogen. Looks very chic when you take a look at it from a distance. Reminds me of the old generation Alto, but you know, there's a spoiler which is a part of the accessories. You can choose multiple colors. You can choose that matches the car. This one is in white, makes the car looks a little sporty. You also have a washer right here, which is not very visible, but the flow of the water would be here. There is a wiper and a defogger. You also have a high mount stop lamp right here. In the center, you of course have the Suzuki logo. You have a handle which is just like the one in the front with a sensor that is outward. So that is something that is not to everyone's taste. What do you think about it? Celerio badging, of course, on the left hand side. There is no other Suzuki badging or the variant, as you can see clearly, this being the top of the line, like we mentioned. On the lower half of the bumper, you'll notice that the sensors, the parking sensors, are well integrated into the reflectors. The shape of the bumper has also, of course, changed. It looks far more smarter than the outgoing car, and that's about it. Looks a smart rear and very compact. The bumper sticks out a little bit in comparison to the door. Maybe it'll save us from the dings that will happen from the rearward collisions that might just happen. A whole lot has changed on the outside, but a whole lot has changed on the inside too. Let us look into the boot of this new Celerio. It's 313 liters in comparison to maybe a Tiago or a Sandpro that's about 240. This is much larger. Your daily runs to the mall, to the schools with the kids, your parties, to your malls, to your cinemas, to the airport runs with a large baggage, not just a cabin baggage, will fit adequately into this. Very easy to access. This is completely removable, and you also have the option of a 60/40 rear seat. Now what happens is the lid here is a little bit low, so you've got to lift your stuff out and in again. It's going to be a little bit cumbersome, but I think should not be a deal breaker in any way whatsoever. Welcome to the interior of the all-new Celerio, the second generation. It's quite surprising actually, because on the outside the car is far rounded off in comparison to the first generation, which was quite sharper. It had sharper lines. On the inside, the first generation was more rounded off. This one, on the other hand, on the inside is extremely sharp. It's got layers over layers. It's got a lot of, levels going on for the dashboard. There's a lot of finishes or textures up here. However, everything that you touch here is hard, brittle plastic. So nothing that is soft touch that you would come to expect from a car that costs so much money on the road. Of course, it's got airbags and stuff as standard, but there's still a lot that seems to be missing. The steering, for example, is a urethane steering, and it doesn't come with leather stitch. This one is a part of the accessories that you see here, but overall the thickness of the steering is all right. Everything looks put together properly. It doesn't feel like out of place. At the same time, the quality is just not there. Everything that you see is budget grade. It is very economic grade. Whether it's the air vents or the silver finishes to break the monotony and all of that, but nothing feels 8 lakh rupees worth. But it appeals to the first time car buyers who want a product that is durable, that is going to last as long as, probably even longer than they do, and this is what that will fit that bill. The rear view mirror is not automatic. It's not an IVM. It's got a manual day-night function to it. The sun blinds are very economy grade. There is only the mirror on the left hand side, vanity only on the left hand side without any light functions. There is only one light that is put here instead of the central position, so there is going to be a lot of dark spaces towards the end of the day, but everything else here is very 2005. It doesn't feel like a 2021 car. You have a music system, you have power windows, you have a central door lock with remote and all of that, but it still feels that there's a few things that are missing. For example, the power window switches have now moved from the door to the central console. It's going to take a little time to get used to, whereas the power window switches for the rear are also right here behind the handbrake. There are no cubby spaces here, but there are ample spots where you can store big bottles, etc., both in the doors as well as in the center console here. You also have a 12-volt charger here, and you have an auxiliary and USB port right here. You don't get a CD player, but when was the last time you actually used a CD? Everything else is now, this is a touchscreen. It feels really nice. You can put it on ignition. It does not lag at all. It's slick. It responds well. It is also connected to Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, so that's a plus. Everything else is a typical Maruti fit and finish. Nothing to complain here. The steering is very much like that. You have modes to select for your MID screen, which is half digital, half analog. It also looks all right, little decent, but I think the one in the Santro is far better. Then you also have a customized digital display in the Tiago, which is a big miss for Maruti Suzuki. Everything else with the voice commands and everything is all right, but the roof lining, the speaker systems, and the overall fit and finish of the car is very, very average, I would say, at best. The glove box also is a poultry system. It doesn't have a damping action or anything of that sort. It'll fit your user manual, etc., but it's still a little hard. Everything that you touch here is hard. There are speakers here. There are only 4 speakers available in the car. The music system is subpar. It's just about all right. All in all, a pretty cozy chair to be in. You can enjoy this car because it's a nice car. It's peppy. We'll go for a drive very soon, but everything else feels comfortable at the moment. And there is no lumbar as such, but you can adjust the seat to height only in the top of the line variants. Otherwise, the reach to spots is very easy. The clutch is soft, but we'll come to the drive a little bit later on. So we're in the back of the all-new Celerio, a really comfortable place to be in, if you ask me. The seat is well cushioned and it's well judged. It's a little bit upright, but I think this should be comfortable for long drives. This is an accessory package here that you see. These are Rexine seats, but in general, I think the top of the line also comes with fabric seats, the quality of which is durable, I would say. They look like the old Swift used to come with, but I'm not sure how many people know that. Back pockets here. Not for the fabric seats, only on the left hand side. Everything else is very handy. The only problem, the only fly in the ointment is the power switch, power window switches, which are right in the center console. So it's a bit of a reach to go there. Taller passengers will have ample legroom and headroom, and it's going to be comfortable even for a 6-footer. And we have tried and tested this, so we're not just saying it. But at the same time, this is not a car for 5 people. It's best for 4 adults and maybe a child in the rear seat especially. Otherwise, I think it's a very comfortable place to be in. You open the door and the ingress and egress is just fantastic. You can literally just walk into the car. If this was a choice between the WagonR and the Celerio, it would be really hard to contemplate which car would you go for, because it's really comfortable here. The visibility is great. My only other concern is that the headrests are fixed. They are fused sort of, and they're not very comfortable. The only glitch again is that they're not practical, they're not functional, they also don't look very nice. I don't know why they are there. There is no headrest for the middle passenger, that's one concern, and everything else looks in order. There's enough place to put your legs under the seat as well, so enough shoulder room for at least 4 adults, enough headroom and enough legroom. I think this is a good place to be in. It's time to take this little one for a little spin. This is powered by a 1-liter pot, 3-cylinder pot essentially. It's the same engine that was there in the first generation Celerio, but this one is tweaked a little bit better. Essentially, this is the K10C series instead of the K10B series. What this essentially means is that the motor has dual jets for each cylinder. It has the dual VVT along with a water-cooled EGR. So the car is actually designed around the fuel economy, making it easily the most fuel economical car in India on sale today. 26 kilometers to the liter, and making it highly frugal. No customer is going to complain about this car. It's really soft, and the little clatter that you hear from 3-liter pots is almost inexistent. Now, this is a 5-speed manual. You also have the option of the AMT. In Maruti speak is the AGS, or the auto gear system. It's basically a crude system. It's an automatic manual transmission, so it's just a, it's a annexure to the manual system made by Magneti Marelli, tried and tested. Of course, you get the sluggishness and the peculiar head bob from the AGS system, but to be very honest, this is very close to actually the Hyundai, and it's really beautiful. So it's not really seamless, you still get the feel of the head bob and the typical traits of the AGS, but it's not as troublesome as it used to be. The other things are the NVH levels in the car, the noise, the vibrations, and the harshness of the vehicle. They're well controlled because they're no longer a 3-point mounting of the engine. It's more of a pendulum sort. What that essentially does is, I will not get into technicalities, but I will tell you certainly for sure that the vibrations and the harshness goes down tremendously. And overall, a fun car to drive. Of course, if you redline it, this is not a car that you want to redline it, but a fairly competitive car. Although we do wish and strongly wish that the WagonR's 1.2 litre engine would be seen here. We were hoping for that, but that has not happened. But then the clientele for the WagonR and the Celerio are quite different, and honestly speaking, the markets for both cars are also very different. So there is no competition as such. The cogs are well defined, they're very smooth, easy, they fit in quickly. The clutch is extremely light. It's more, how should I put this? What you might call it? The transition of the gear shift is almost seamless, as if you don't have to get used to it. The clutch is really smooth. You don't have to push the car even. So all of that is a pleasure to drive around the city. Only on the highways you will notice that the car needs a lot more power, and that is where you will miss the 1.2 gem of an engine that comes in the WagonR and sorts. Also, this car is built on the Heartect platform, which shares the platform again with the WagonR, the lesser Espresso, the Swift, and of course the Ertiga. And now to join them is the newest baby in the portfolio, which is the Celerio. Everything else, the ride quality is slightly on the harsher side. One important thing to note is that the suspension itself is harder. What that does is change the dynamics of the vehicle to such a fashion that the old one was a little bouncy and was not very confidence inspiring above 80 kilometers to the liter. This one, on the other hand, is really taut and can be enjoyed at speeds above 80 kilometers an hour and can be enjoyed at 122. Of course, you miss the power from the WagonR, like we've already discussed, but when the suspension is tighter, you can drive the car up to 120 kilometers even without a problem, without a fuss. And the car does remarkably well. It's fuel efficient, it is doing well, it is just hovering at about 2,500 RPM, and we're comfortably cruising along, and there is no problem whatsoever. The suspension is a boon. It will let smaller bumps get through the cabin. It is not fuss free. It is loud. It will let you know that you are driving on a certain, a level of road or whatever is under you. You will figure that out. Sharper bumps, of course, will go through a cabin like no one's business, and it's not a very pleasant feeling. But I'd rather have high-speed stability than low-speed ride quality on a car. But to each his own. What do you think about this? What do you think about this car? Do let us know in the comments box down below. Also, we've discussed the Heartect technology. You can expand. My only question is, why couldn't they put the 1.2 litre pot? But if you don't cannibalize your own sales, someone else will. I think Maruti knows that better than anyone else, but still has chosen to give this the same engine that was there in the first generation car. Even then, no complaints whatsoever. You can enjoy the car. You won't feel too much. The wind noise at 100 odd kilometers is excessive. It could get intrusive also. And the tires are good quality tires. They are Yokohamas. They're 175s on the ZXi trims, 14 inches and 165 on the lower trims. You can upgrade them if you want to. You have the option of a number of accessories that you can upgrade the car to as well. Overall, a good feel. Uh, of course, it's a typical Maruti feel. It's very light. I wish it was slightly on the heavier side. The total weight on the car is approximately 800 and 25 kilos. That is very similar to the WagonR, surprisingly so. But it's only about 25 kilos lesser than the first generation car. Well, that's all. A special mention to the air conditioning system. It's not an automatic climate control. Even on the top spec ZXi Plus variant, which this one is. Comfortable driving position, but I wish there was an automatic climate control. But the compensation of that is not the automatic folding mirrors, but I would rather have automatic climate control than have an auto folding mirror. But Maruti has tried to up the game by doing that. The steering is feather light. It's feather light for the city. You can really just drive it with two fingers. It's that smooth, and it's very easy. You don't have to change the gears too often. It'll actually pull from a standstill even in the second gear, which is something that is remarkable for an engine that is this small. But there are some perks to this engine, like we've already discussed, especially the fuel economy and the visibility, outward visibility, the one in the back, all around, the spaciousness of the cabin, that the light areas are just amazing. There is not a corner in the car that you can't see easily, and the overall feel is tremendous. It's a good car to be in. It's a good place to be in. You'll enjoy this car. First time buyer especially, or a family, a nuclear family especially, will enjoy long distances as well, because this car is easy on the pocket, easy to drive, easy to maintain, because it's got the backup of Maruti Suzuki India. What else do you need from a car?